Deep in the highlands of West Java, Indonesia, there's a site that might just rewrite human history as we know it. It's called Gunung Padang, which means Mountain of Enlightenment, and for about 100 years, we thought we had its story figured out. But wow, new research is suggesting that what we see on the surface is just the final chapter of a much, much older story. So let's dig in and see what the science is telling us.
So what you're looking at here are these ancient stone terraces, right? For the longest time, everyone agreed it was a sacred site. But what if this whole thing isn't a hill at all? What if it's actually a massive, man-made pyramid built in layers over thousands and thousands of years, with its beginnings deep in the last ice age? Yeah, that's the wild, revolutionary theory we are exploring today.
Now, to really get why this new idea is so huge, so radical, we first have to understand the conventional story, what everyone thought Gunung Padang was for a very long time.
For decades, archaeologists had a name for this kind of place, a pundan berundak. It's basically a terraced stone structure used for rituals, especially for ancestor worship. And this one, Gunung Padang, is the biggest of its kind in all of Indonesia. I mean, it's a seriously impressive example of this ancient building style.
So, the official story, the one that stood for about 100 years, was that it was built somewhere between 2500 and 1500 BCE. And that gate fits perfectly, really neatly, into the timeline we already have for megalithic cultures in that part of the world. So for a long time, that was it. Case closed.
But you know, there were always these little nagging questions. And then a whole new team of scientists, geologists, geophysicists, archaeologists, they all came to the site and they asked one heck of a question. What if everything we can see is just the newest, tiniest part of a much bigger, much older structure hidden right underneath our feet? To answer a question that big, you can't just dig with a shovel. No, you have to see through the Earth itself. And to do that, you need some seriously advanced technology.
So this team brought in the big guns, a whole high-tech toolkit. They used things like LiDAR to scan the surface and create a perfect 3D map. Then they used ground-penetrating radar and seismic tomography to send waves down into the ground, which is kind of like giving the hill an ultrasound to see what's hidden inside.
The goal here was to take all the data from all these different gadgets and stitch it all together into one complete 3D model of the entire hill, from the stones you can walk on at the top all the way down to the bedrock. They wanted to map every layer, every hidden feature, without moving a single stone.
And what they found? Well, it was absolutely astonishing. The data painted a picture that just completely challenged everything archaeologists thought they knew about this place.
Okay, here's the bombshell conclusion from all that tech. Gunung Padang is not a natural hill that people just happen to build on top of. No, the evidence strongly suggests the entire mound is an artificial, pyramid-like structure built in phases over an unbelievable amount of time.
This image right here does a fantastic job of showing you what they discovered. The research team identified 4 completely separate units, or layers, built one on top of the other. The terraces we see on the surface, that's just the very top layer, Unit 1. Beneath that lies a much older and much more complex history.
All right, let's break this down. It all started with a natural lava hill, Unit 4, which the first builders carefully carved and sculpted. Then they completely covered it with Unit 3, the first massive rock construction. Then it seems the site was abandoned for thousands of years, buried under soil, until a new culture came and built Unit 2 on top of it. And finally, much later, the last civilization built Unit 1, the terraces we can see today.
And get this. As if a giant buried pyramid wasn't enough, the data also picked up on these weird anomalies deep inside. They're basically signals of empty spaces, suggesting there could be hidden chambers or cavities tucked away deep within the structure. The mystery just keeps getting deeper.
So, okay, if this thing is a man-made pyramid built in layers, that leads to the biggest question of all. Just how old is it, really? To get the answer, the team had to go deep. They used core drilling. Think of it like a giant metal straw to pull out long cylinders of earth from different layers inside the hill. And buried in that soil, they found organic material, little bits of ancient charcoal and plant matter that they could use for radiocarbon dating to find out their age. And the dates they got back? Well, this is where the story just goes into another dimension. The top layer, Unit 1, it lines up perfectly with the old theory, around 2000 BCE. No surprise there. But then you go deeper. Unit 2,
jumps all the way back to around 6000 BCE. And then there's Unit 3, the oldest, biggest layer of them all. The carbon dating puts it somewhere between, get this, 25,000 and 14,000 BCE.
And just so you can wrap your head around the sheer scale of this thing, the entire complex covers about 15 hectares. That is 10 times bigger than Borobudur, which is another one of Indonesia's most famous and absolutely massive ancient temples. We are talking about a truly monumental project.
Let's just pause on that number for a second. 25,000 BCE. That would place the original builders of Gunung Padang deep in the Paleolithic era, during the peak of the last ice age. That's long, long before we thought anyone was capable of building anything like this.
So, if these findings are correct, what does it all mean? Well, the implications are just profound. This isn't just another discovery. It's a direct challenge to the entire established timeline of human civilization.
I'm going to read a quote directly from the research paper because it really hits the nail on the head. They write that this finding challenges the conventional belief that human civilization and the development of advanced construction techniques emerged only with the advent of agriculture approximately 11,000 years ago. In other words, Gunung Padang suggests that story might be wrong by more than 10,000 years.
Look, to really see what a bombshell this is, you just have to put the old story next to the new evidence. The traditional view says big, complex construction projects didn't start until after the Ice Age, with the rise of farming. It says hunter-gatherers just weren't capable of it. But the evidence from Gunung Padang points to a culture with amazing masonry skills and the ability to organize huge building projects, all during the Ice Age.
And all of this leaves us with this one huge, lingering question. If a civilization capable of this kind of incredible engineering existed so long ago, hidden all this time beneath the hill in Indonesia, what other secrets from our ancient world are still out there, buried right under our feet, just waiting for the right tools and the right questions to bring them to light?